After trying nearly all the different peptides on the market, I have not felt this good on such a small stack in a long time. And what I'm going to tell you in this video is how I am getting the most out of my peptides right now. You'll see so many people dumping their life savings into peptides, not knowing how to get the most out of them, and frankly, throwing their money down the drain. So in this video, I'm going to teach you everything I've learned about how to use these things the right way to get the most out of them. I'm going to go over some of the most popular peptides in the marketplace today. Before we get into the video, it's important to note that nothing I say in this video is medical advice. I'm not a medical doctor. If you're gonna go through any of these protocols, make sure you're doing so under direct medical supervision. Without any further ado, let's jump in. Look, it's no secret that peptides have taken over the internet, and it's important to understand why we need them. As a whole, society is becoming weaker, sicker, and less in tune with their bodies, and our medical advice is getting worse by the day. So a lot of people are beginning to take matters into their own hands and find out their own research and how to use things to optimize their body. For example, physical strength across all people, men and women, is down by over 30% over the last 50 years. Especially with our sedentary lifestyles, we're all sitting all day, there's no physical activity. And physical activity is banished from any sort of youth program because it's now looked at as corporal punishment. Of course, we're gonna have soft and squishy kids that grow up to be soft and squishy adults. We're up to 1 in 4 men today that report having low energy or no motivation. I really like making these videos for you guys and bringing you this information because a lot of this comes from not only my own experience, but tireless hours of research I've done to optimize my own experience. Now, I understand everybody does not have all the free time in the world, so I compress these into 10, 15-minute segments where you can learn everything that has cost me hours and hours and hours of research. Starting with the most popular peptide on the market, the hard R, Retatrutide. If you don't know yet, Retatrutide is a triple agonist GLP-1, which means it's going to target 3 different pathways to help you suppress your appetite, burn more calories at a resting state, and use your calories for energy. Those pathways are your GLP-1, your GIP, and your glucagon. GLP-1 is going to be what's in charge of your hunger. It's going to make sure that you're not hungry all the time and suppress your appetite. Now, I don't believe in full appetite suppression like you see with some of these things with semaglutide. Receptivity seems okay, but still, I'm not on the accord of just starving yourself to get skinny. I believe you should reset your metabolic system. And that's what Retatrutide has really done for me. And it's worked really, really well. And I'm not someone who's needed a really high dose. The key with Retatrutide is finding your dosing. I am someone who got really good effects, even as low as 1 milligram a week to start. Some people need up to 6 milligrams a week to start. So it's really important that when you're starting this stuff, you don't just think, oh, this isn't for me because I didn't feel it. It's all about finding what your optimal dosing. Everybody's tolerance is different. I have friends that are on 8 milligrams a week right now, and they're still, not really feeling it. But that appetite suppression is really just to retrain your body and how your relationship with food should exist. It's not to just give you a cheat code to not ever be hungry, and then as soon as you come off of it, you just start stuffing your face again, right? You want to train your body and train your mind into how to eat appropriately, what times of the day, how frequently, and how much. Your GIP is that second receptor. This is going to make sure that the food you're eating is going to muscle and not fat. It's going to change the way that your body uses the calorie intake that it's getting. The last of the 3 is your glucagon, which is going to upregulate the amount of calories you burn in a resting state. So theoretically, you could just fix this, not change your diet, and you would technically lose more weight than you're losing right now. But when you encompass all 3 together, that's when we really see these incredible results that people are seeing off Reta. Now, me, myself, I'm using it right now on a slight shred. I'm using it more aesthetically than for someone who would be overweight. They're bringing this drug to market to fight obesity and diabetes. It's supposed to be the cure-all for both, and we'll see what happens. But one thing's for sure, people are dropping weight fast. Initial studies are showing 17 to 24% of your body weight gone within a year. And that's the average. Some people are doing that in 2 or 3 months. So we're really seeing the fitness industry take a shift because up until this point, if you told a fitness trainer, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds in 2 months before spring break, they would have laughed at you, or they would have starved you so badly that you would have been in pain and you would have been running and doing cardio for 2 hours a day. Where today we have these pharmaceuticals that are now existing where you can completely change your body composition and the way you look in a really short period of time. So we're going to start to see how this affects the health of people because the worst thing you want to be is just super skinny with no muscle. And it's important to remember to eat on this stuff. It's really easy to get trapped in this idea of, I don't want to eat anything. I'm just going to starve myself. I'm going to lose weight faster. Number 1, Retatrutide changes your insulin sensitivity. Everybody who's fat likes carbs, myself included. Who doesn't like pasta? Who doesn't like sweets? All that stuff. You can actually use carbs and change the way that they're processed in your body, and it's not just going to go straight to fat. But make sure you're doing something with these carbs. If you just sit around all day after eating this stuff, then you're not going to get great results, right? So you have to make sure you're actually putting in the time and the workout. Which brings me to my next peptide, which has helped me a ton in the physicality space, BPC 157 mixed with TB 500. This is your ultimate recovery stack. I go to the gym 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. I like to work out a lot because I really enjoy it. For me, it's honestly a little less about the actual muscle building than it is just the mental stimulation I get from going in there and pushing around some heavy weight and doing some man shit, you know? BPC works by ramping up your fibroblasts, which is your cellular repair crew, if you will. It also stimulates angiogenesis, which is like opening up a highway for your blood cells. TB500 is like the actual transport mechanism of what's moving the building blocks to the area that they need to get to repair your body. Specifically, this is really good on tissue repair. It increases tissue repair speed by an average of 70 to 85% across the board. That's pretty crazy if you think about it. When we're talking about cutting down post-op surgery times, when we're coming back from extreme injuries like tears and strains on our muscles, this is getting exponentially faster recovery time than what we're used to. Now, for someone like me who's not injured, I use it to get incredible recovery speed when I'm working out at the gym so that I can go in there and not overdo it, because something I have a big problem with is I always overdo my training and I end up working retroactively. So in order for me to actually build muscle, I have to be able to recover as hard as I want to exercise. There's a yin and yang to everything. Every little micro tear in the arm, every time I do an exercise, that would have taken days to recover, that can now be recovered in a day or less. So it lets you hit every muscle group a little bit more frequently, which can drastically speed up your results because you're not having to wait days at a time to hit that muscle again. Tendon, ligament, muscle healing all increase pretty drastically when using this stuff. I have been nothing but a fan, and the safety profile seems pretty extreme, where no one has really found any extremes. Tissues, tendons, ligaments, muscle, joints, everything has seemed to improve with BPC 157 and TB 500, and they're showing no negative safety profile, so it's basically side effect free from what they're seeing right now. One really good practice I've added with this is sprinkling in some glutamine, whether it's injectable or powder, in with this protocol. There is no such thing as muscle soreness, injury. You cannot overdo it. It is the most liberating thing to do as someone who works out, where I can go in now and not have any worry in the world that I'm going to hurt myself, that I'm going to overdo it, that anything is going to happen negatively to me. I can just go in, blast some extremely loud music in my earbuds, and go to town. Something else to pair with this to get some of the best muscle building results while you're using peptides is going to be my favorite peptide of all time, Tesa-IPA blend. That means tesamorelin and ipamorelin. They both fall in the category of GH releasing peptides, but this is my #1 peptide of all time. I've gotten the best results using this, and I've gotten in the best shape of my life. If you don't know about growth hormone, it is the boss chemical that is responsible for muscle building, fat loss, and overall skin, hair, sleep quality. It does everything. It's almost like your body's internal fountain of youth. Tesamorelin is a growth hormone releasing hormone by technical term, which means it's going to poke your pituitary gland up there in the brain to stimulate more growth hormone. Ipamorelin mimics ghrelin, which is your hungry hormone. It's going to tell your body, I want to eat more. This, by mechanism, also triggers your growth hormone. But it does this without kicking up your stress hormone as well, because too much growth hormone pulse will shoot the shit out of your cortisol. And the real end goal is those GH pulses get converted into IGF-1, which is a byproduct of growth hormone. That is what's responsible for actual new muscle nerve growth. Nothing new grows without IGF-1. So when we're using things like Tesa-IPA, we're putting fuel on the fire by increasing the amount of nerve growth that we can get in a muscle while also fostering the existing connections that have already been made. This is why people specifically like it who are in a calorie deficit, because you're able to retain and build new muscle even while you're losing fat, which had otherwise only been thought to be able to do either on steroids or some sort of androgenic comp. What I really like about tesamorelin is it's specifically designed to target your visceral fat, which is the fat underneath your organs. A lot of it lies here in the stomach area, which is the most unappealing and unesthetic fat that we have. This, in combination with the Reta, just these two, can get people in insane shape. We're seeing some people go complete transformations that literally look like they have been using steroids, because you're able to build so much muscle while also shredding fat off of your body. It looks like they've just done an Anavar cycle. More growth hormone also contributes to faster recovery, especially between sets, which is really nice for me because I'm someone who likes to do short intervals between my sets. I was just working out with one of my friends, Julian Decina, 260 lean. He's somebody who likes to take longer pauses. He's a big guy, so whatever he's doing is working. But he likes to take longer pauses when he works out. I'm someone who gets more benefit out of 30-second short bursts and just going at it as hard as I can for 45 minutes. But everybody's got their own style, and it's really important to understand that there is no one-size-fits-all for any of this. None of this is done with this is the only way to do it. Anybody who tells you this is the only way to exercise, this is the only way to take peptides, this is the only way to eat, is drastically either uninformed or just trying to sell a program. With Tesa, I've gotten really great results going as low as 0.5 milligram of Tesa 5 days a week, 0.25 of IPA. Right now, I'm dosing it at 1 milligram and 0.5. There are people that dose it way higher. I happen to have a really, really positive response to this compound, so it doesn't take me that much. So I don't need to overdo it. Key thing to note with Tesa-IPA is not to expect results overnight. This is a slow burn. This one takes about a month, 2 months before you really start seeing the benefits. So let's say about a month and a half from now, you should see me pretty ripped up. Good thing I like to add with this one is adding in some zinc, especially at nighttime. Tesa-IPA is really good at getting you into your deep sleep. Zinc is going to keep you there. These two pair really, really well together, and you get a lot more of the systemic benefits, especially when you're sleeping when it comes to recovery. This next one is used by so many different people, and I believe everybody gets it wrong, and that is GHK-Cu. Yes, it is going to help you aesthetically, and I do really like it for that. It has really helped my skin. It's really helped my hair. If you can tell, for some of you who have been watching me for a long time, even in the last couple months, my hair is thicker. It's a little more shiny. It looks good. GHK modulates the cells on over 4,000 different genes in the body. It's also really effective at producing and cleaning out old collagen. So I made a full video on this if you're interested in GHK and really want to dissect how this one works, because there are a ton of aesthetic benefits, but it's also really good for the body in terms of your ligaments, and there are some muscle building capabilities that come with GHK. Most of the mechanism comes from the anti-inflammatory aspect. A lot of muscle injury and a lot of damage that happens to the body is a direct cause of inflammation, which is why a lot of people that take GHK notice some of the slimming of the face, because most people are just so puffed out from inflammation. I had this for a long time. Like I said, there's endless aesthetic benefits with GHK, so if you're interested in that video, I'm gonna link that in the description, and it will tell you how to become the best looking human being using GHK. But for the purposes of this video, we're gonna go over how it affects the body, specifically how it works with your muscles and deep tissue. For me, something that's always been a limiting factor is my hamstring. It's always stopped me from squatting really heavy. I have found it really effective at loosening up those tendons and making sure that I'm not so tight when I'm going down. I just hit a squat PR, which I haven't gotten in a long time because I never squat heavy. But I've found really positive results when pairing the GHK with the BPC and the TB500. What I will note, and some people are going to disagree on this, is that I don't believe they should all be blended together. From what I've researched, a lot of people tend to agree with me, but I don't believe these Clo blends and these Glow blends are very effective for more than several days. The GHK begins to degrade the other products in the bile, and you're oftentimes not getting the full benefit versus if you were to just get them individually, which is why I think it's really important that if you're gonna do any of these protocols, you do so through a licensed physician who has experience with peptides. There's a lot of people on the internet that are really good at peptides, so I'm not discrediting any of them. And there's a lot of doctors out there that have no idea how peptides work. But it is most important, and it's the best practice to find a doctor that understands peptides. It's gonna give you the best of both worlds in terms of learning the actual medical knowledge you need to do these things properly, and also getting the best quality of service. There's a ton of really incredible benefits from GHK on the wound healing side as well. It's something I used when I got surgery on my finger. I had this big gash all the way down my finger. It was literally the size of this whole scar. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it was gigantic. And I used GHK to drastically speed up that rebinding process, as well as heal over that scar. It was pretty ugly for a long time. GHK is always best used with vitamin C, specifically on the collagen side of things, because collagen is not as effective without vitamin C to bind it together. Adding in that collagen is going to help 2x your rebound speed when it comes to muscle fatigue and muscle healing. It has been one of the biggest shifts I've made on this go around on GHK, is making sure I'm doing collagen. I like marine collagen specifically. It's supposed to work a little bit better. I've seen really, really positive results. Next one up is NAD+. Guys, if you are not using this yet, everybody who has a pulse and does not have a heart condition should be on NAD+. It is my favorite thing that I take, and it is the last thing that I will ever give up. It is responsible for all of your cellular energy. It fuels your mitochondria. It's like taking your phone at 1% and plugging in the USB-C charger, and it gets to 100% in about an hour. It targets the mitochondria to make sure that we are giving the power source the most applicable energy to survive and replicate. More cellular energy means you're pushing through harder on workouts, your brain is not getting fatigued, and you're not getting that fall off a cliff feeling that you hit around 3 p.m. every afternoon. Your body is entirely made up of cells. If we know that the mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell, we were all in 5th grade biology, we want to fuel our powerhouse. We want to make sure that it is putting out as much cellular energy as possible, and NAD+ is the way to do it. Among athletes, they've seen 20 to 30% increases in endurance by adding NAD in alone. That is insane. That's like adding athleticism in a bottle. Best practices for this, take it with CoQ10 and resveratrol first thing in the morning and get ready to blast off like a rocket ship. Not to mention, just like GHK, it does have a ton of aesthetic benefits because of its anti-aging properties. It helps your skin stay youthful, but it also keeps your mind and body working like young as well. Dosing for this one, typically I like to do about 40 to 50 milligrams a day. I do that every morning, I do it fasted, and I feel it just the same every day. What I love about this one is you can take it as long as you want. Most of these other ones work in cycles. For NAD, you can go as long and as hard as you want, and it gets better as you go. For BPC 157 and TB 500 maintenance dose, I like to do 0.3 milligrams a day. I don't need anything crazy. I just want the extra kick to keep myself going. But if I'm someone who's got an injury, like let's say I just hurt my shoulder, I'm gonna pump that up all the way to a milligram a day of both. Now, my biggest problem with GHK is how every guru is going to overdose you because they read something somewhere that you should be taking 2 milligrams, 3, 4 milligrams a day of GHK, and you're gonna get all these crazy results. Most people end up overdosing their GHK and doing more harm than good, especially when it comes to the aesthetic side. People wonder why they're starting to get acne or why they're having problems with the GHK, and it's because part of what its job is to clear out old dead collagen. Now, if you just keep pumping GHK into the system, it's gonna keep clearing out as much as it can get. You don't wanna clear out everything. You wanna keep some of your collagen there. You don't wanna break it down too far. That's why I recommend, and what's worked best for me, is 1 milligram a night fasted. If you can stick to just this protocol while adding in that vitamin C and the collagen, you will have a way better experience than a lot of these guys who are trying to overdose so drastically, and you're gonna save a ton of money. The last one I'm gonna touch on this protocol might sound a little weird, but it does really work for me, and that is Tadalafil. Low dose, 5 milligrams a day. A lot of people know Tadalafil for being the active ingredient in Cialis, which is what your Blue Chews and whatever dick pills that are out there these days, Viagra, are all made from. Now, we're not taking enough to do a dick dose. That's about 20 milligrams. We just want enough to keep the blood pumping everywhere in the body, full circulation, and that is 5 milligrams a day. I have found that this has been really good for the vasodilation. It helps keep your veins flowing, blood flow to all the right areas. One of the most important things in the body when it comes to the output that it can create is blood flow. How much blood is getting to the area, how much blood is getting to your muscles. This is what's gonna determine the quality of your pumps as well as your overall health. It does this by acting as a PDE5 inhibitor, which are the little enzymes that make it so that your veins constrict and stay tighter. When you take the Tadalafil, it blocks that enzyme and keeps them open and flowing. Kind of like unclogging a toilet. I've gotten substantial muscle gains from Tadalafil. Most users in the trials they've gone through have shown a 10 to 15% increase in muscle mass just by adding in Tadalafil, especially those who are on any sort of hormone protocol, whether that's TRT or anything androgenic. Tadalafil also increases your androgen receptivity, so the rate at which your body can bind those androgen receptors, and you have a lot of them in your shoulder. Which is why you see a lot of guys on gear, they have a big capped off shoulder, kind of like that. But Tadalafil, really effective at increasing the androgen receptivity in their shoulders to make sure that they're getting that extra binding and getting that extra muscle growth. Now, if you want to see some really crazy pumps, throw in some L-citrulline in there, like 5 milligrams, and go to town. But look, guys, the reason I wanted to make this video is I've been burning the candle at both ends. I've been working 12, 14 hours a day while also getting insane pumps in 6, 7 days a week. And I have not felt this level of output in a long time. So I wanted to share with you guys what I'm doing right now. Next week, I'm blowing the roof off of my experiments. I'm gonna be doing the most experimental cellular program I have ever done. So if you wanna see what that experiment looks like, hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, because that one's gonna be coming real soon. You are not gonna wanna miss it. Guys, we're gonna see you in the next one.